My wife chose her tattoo artist over our kid. A very big mistake. So, picture this, my wife decided to spice things up with her tattoo artist, because, why not? But here's the kicker, I flipped the script and had both her and her ink-slinging Romeo arrested. And guess what? I walked away with full custody. Talk about a plot twist, right? Get ready for a tale that's truly out of this world, straight from Betrayal Room. 1 minute, it's all, let's be mature about this, and the next, bam. You've got restraining orders, missed visitations, and spontaneous road trips to Miami while your kid is left scratching his head, wondering why mom pulled a Houdini again. Today on Betrayal Room, we're diving into the not-so-friendly breakup saga. So, picture this, my wife, the queen of my heart, decides to trade me in for a tattoo artist. Yep, you heard that right. She left me for her artistic affair partner. Talk about a plot twist, huh? Guess I wasn't edgy enough for her anymore. Guess what? I snagged full custody and managed to get both of them behind bars. Talk about a plot twist, right? So there you are, cruising through life like it's a Sunday drive, and then bam. Everything flips on its head. You didn't even see it coming, did you? It's like a plot twist in a movie you didn't sign up for. I fancied myself a bit of a life prepper, ready for whatever curveballs the universe might throw my way. But let me tell you, the real zingers come out of nowhere, like a surprise party you didn't want. 1 minute you're cruising along, and the next? Boom. Everything's flipped upside down, and you're left wondering what just hit you. Isn't it just the worst? Life throws these curveballs, and you're supposed to just pick up your coffee and carry on like nothing happened. I mean, come on. Who made that rule? It's like being asked to dance while juggling flaming torches, totally unfair, right? So, you drop your kid off at school, and then it's back to the grind like everything's totally fine, right? Meanwhile, your life is basically a jigsaw puzzle with half the pieces missing. Classic. Once upon a time, in a land not so far away, I was a 32-year-old dude happily hitched to Christine, a fabulous 29-year-old gal. We had 6 years of wedded bliss, until she decided to go full tornado on our lives. So, we've got this little whirlwind of energy named Todd, and he's just hit the big 5. Can you believe it? Time flies when you're having fun, right? This tiny dude is the sunshine in my world. Absolutely, having him flipped our world upside down. Gone are the days of spontaneous adventures, but let me tell you, being a dad has filled my heart in ways I never saw coming. Who knew diapers could bring so much joy? So, there I was, convinced that Christine was just a one-trick pony, Same old, same old. I always figured she was loving the whole mom gig, but as the year rolled on, it hit me like a ton of bricks, she was craving something beyond the diaper duty and snack time chaos. So, there I was, minding my own business, when I suddenly realized she was doing the ol' Houdini act on me, slowly but surely pulling away like a magician disappearing into thin air. So there I was, ready to spill the beans about my day, but nope. She didn't even bother to ask. And if I dared to start sharing, her eyes would go all glassy, and it was like I was talking to a wall. Classic, right? It was like I was talking to a brick wall, she just wasn't having any of it. My words were floating in the air, and she was off in her own little world, completely uninterested in my dazzling tales. She was about as interested in Todd's life as a cat is in a swimming pool, just not happening. There were days when I'd discover that she had totally spaced on feeding him, all because she was too busy cracking up with her pals on her phone. Classic, right? And let me tell you about her friends. So, here's the deal, I was totally cool with my wife having friends, no biggie there. But let me tell you, these particular folks, not my cup of tea at all. To put it in plain terms, they were like a bad movie that you just can't stop watching, a total influence disaster for her. Once upon a time, there were these fabulous party girls, living it up and dancing like nobody was watching, even though they were creeping up on the big 30. Who said age was anything but a number, right? They were inked to the max, sporting faces that looked like they'd been through a jewelry store explosion. Okay, I might be channeling my inner grandpa here, but those folks gave me the heebie-jeebies. She was forever glued to her phone, chatting away or dreaming up plans to hit the town for a drink with them. So, there I was, playing the role of the responsible friend, reminding her that, she couldn't just hit the party scene every single night like she was still in college. I mean, she's got a kid at home. But did she listen? Nope. Instead, she spent the rest of the night sulking like a toddler who just lost their favorite toy. Classic. So, Picture this: one night, she stumbles through the door, a bit tipsy, and with that mischievous glint in her eye, she says, "I've got something to show you." So there she was, rocking a tattoo of a rabbit right on her neck. I mean, who doesn't want a little fluffy friend hanging out with them all day, right? Talk about a conversation starter. It wasn't anything major, just a little outline, but boy, did it stick out like a second nose at a family reunion. So there we were, in the middle of a classic showdown, and out of nowhere, she throws down the gauntlet, calling me boring and claiming I was trying to play the role of the fun police. Can you believe it? Talk about a plot twist. So, I had to break it to her that, sure, I'm not a fan of tattoos, but the real kicker was that she went and made this massive decision without giving me a heads up first. I mean, come on, a little warning would have been nice, right? Oh, you know how it goes. It's always those not-so-great friends who pump you up to do something wild, right? I mean, who needs a heads up when you've got a squad cheering you on from the sidelines? Classic. Honestly, I could have wrapped my head around it if the tattoo had some deep meaning, but a rabbit? Really? And right there, in a spot everyone can see? I was fuming, like a kettle ready to blow. She was all like, "Hey, it's my body, and I don't need to check in with you before I do my thing." I said, "Whoa there, that's not how the cookie crumbles." Guess what? We tied the knot. Yup, we're officially hitched. We both had to be in the driver's seat for those big decisions, you know? Can't let one person steer the ship while the other is just hanging out in the back with snacks. You know, I probably would have caved in the end, even if it wasn't my cup of tea. Classic me, right? She let out a dramatic huff and declared it was one of those spur-of-the-moment decisions, you know, the kind that makes you question all your life choices. So, there they were, a bunch of girls on a tattoo spree, and guess what? She couldn't resist the ink temptation and jumped right in. Inked up and ready to roll. Oh, I totally saw that coming. Out of nowhere, it all clicked into place. So, I couldn't help but ask her why she was so hellbent on following a crew of women who were just lounging around, doing absolutely nada with their lives. And guess what? Yep, you guessed it, we ended up in another epic showdown. She claimed they were all about that spontaneous life, just like she was back in her wild youth. I had to give her a little nudge and remind her that the big 21 was a few birthdays ago. So, picture this: you're a kid, living in a world where the biggest decision is whether to have peanut butter or jelly on your sandwich. Then, bam! You hit that magical age where suddenly, everything's different. Responsibilities start piling up like dirty laundry, and the fun stuff gets swapped for bills and adulting. It's like someone flipped a switch, and now you're navigating a maze of taxes and grocery shopping instead of playgrounds and nap time. Crazy, she shot back at me, claiming I was trying to turn her into some kind of grandma living in a rocking chair. Well, at the end of the day, I just had to roll with the punches and make peace with it. So, like, it's a tattoo, right? You know, that permanent ink that says, "Hey, look at me." Well, it's just sitting there, isn't it? Not a care in the world, like a couch potato on a lazy Sunday. Seriously, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. At first, I was like, no way, Jose. But after a while, it became my new normal. Go figure. Well, let me tell you, it's not like I was given a menu of options here. I mean, come on, choosing to end a marriage over a harmless little tattoo? That's a bit over the top, don't you think? So there I was, minding my own business, when I discovered that she had the audacity to pick up Todd late from school. That was the moment I thought, alright, this is it. I've reached my limit. It's not like she was juggling flaming swords or anything, she just had a regular 9 to 5 that ended right on time. So, there she was, totally forgetting to scoop him up like a kid forgetting their lunch on the kitchen counter. Classic move, right? So there I was, tiptoeing around like a ninja, waiting for him to hit the hay. Once he was out like a light, I unleashed all my pent-up frustrations like a confetti cannon at a party. Boom. I kept my voice all calm and collected, but let me tell you, my words were packing a punch. I casually mentioned to her that she might be dropping the ball on her mom duties. I straight up told her she was a bad mom. Was it a lot? Well, you know, I was just trying to give her a little wake-up call. I was itching to give her a jolt, like a splash of cold water to the face, just to snap her back to reality. Well, she flipped the script and totally shocked me instead. So there I was, casually dropping the bomb that she was a bad mother, and what does she do? Starts crying like a scene from a soap opera. I mean, who knew my words had that kind of power? Talk about a plot twist. So there I was, minding my own business, when she dropped the bombshell, She was totally over the whole just a mom gig. Can you believe it? Talk about a plot twist. She was on a mission to be the ultimate woman, one who could kick back, have a blast, and really soak up every moment of life. But she had her ears turned off like a radio stuck on a static channel. So there I was, minding my own business, when she drops the bombshell, "I'm tired of being your wife." I mean, talk about a plot twist. Who knew marriage came with a side of drama? I'm not worn out from the whole wife gig, just a bit over the whole being mine part. You know what I mean? I was like the fun police, always laying down the law. Who knew being strict could be such a buzzkill? So, picture this, a world overflowing with rules, like a buffet where every dish is a no. It was like trying to dance at a party where someone keeps yelling, "No fun allowed." We weren't living it up like we used to, that's for sure. Spontaneity? Nah, that's not our jam. I stared at her like she just sprouted a unicorn horn. Seriously, disbelief was my middle name at that moment. Well, you know us, spontaneity is not exactly our middle name. So, we've got this little whirlwind of energy, our 5-year-old son. Well, there went our spontaneous adventures. Turns out, someone had to be a responsible student and get back to school by Monday. Who knew education could be such a buzzkill? We had to cut the party short because, someone had to hit the books in the morning. Boring, right? But hey, that doesn't mean our relationship was kicking the bucket just yet. We still managed to sneak out for a little adventure now and then. Absolutely, we had to wrangle a babysitter first, but hey, we pulled it off. So there she was, all eager and hopeful, thinking we could totally figure something out together. That's the same old song every other parent on this planet has to dance to. She just shook her head like I'd suggested we go skydiving in a thunderstorm and said, "Sorry, buddy, but it's too late for that." And just like that, she hit me with the big news. Oh, guess what? There was someone else in the picture. Plot twist, right? So, she's been seeing this guy for a couple of months, and let me tell you, he's got her feeling all those butterflies again, just like the good old days when we were an item. I just stood there, mouth agape, staring at her like a deer caught in headlights. Seriously, it was like time froze and I was stuck in a sitcom moment, waiting for the laugh track to kick in. So there I was, ready to have a heart-to-heart about her son getting the short end of the stick, and boy, did I not see this coming. So, was she really dropping the bomb that she was playing the field behind my back? She jumped right in, not giving me a chance to say a word. So there I was, minding my own business, when she dropped the D-bomb. Her voice wobbled like a Jell-O cup on a roller coaster, and I knew right then and there that things were about to get real messy. Well, here I was, still scratching my head like a confused chicken. No answers in sight. So there I was, plopped down in my favorite chair, trying to wrap my head around this wild info. I mean, seriously, my brain needed a moment to catch up. So there I was, finally getting my brain to cooperate, and the only thing that popped into my head was, who the heck is this guy? So, she casually drops the bombshell, it was Rick. Can you believe it? So, there he was, the dude who inked her skin with that epic tattoo. So, she snagged his number, and just like that, they were texting away like old pals. He flicked the switch on her inner fireworks, and before they knew it, they were tangled up in a whirlwind of both passion and feelings. I couldn't help but shake my head in disbelief. So, I told her, "Wow, that's a whole lot of fancy words just to say you're playing the field on the side." So there I was, minding my own business, when she plopped down next to me and casually rested her hand on my leg. Talk about a plot twist. I gently pried her hand off me and said, "Time to skedaddle." So, there I was, scratching my head, wondering if she thought her little sprinkle of civility was some kind of magic potion to soften the blow of her dating someone else. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. I said to her, "Look, if you're over me, then why stick around for even a second longer? It's like hanging out with a soggy sandwich." She just sat there, not budging an inch, and declared that we needed to have a little chat about our buddy Todd and what the heck we were going to do with him. I couldn't help but ask, "Wait, are you for real?" Todd was hanging out at home with me, just chilling until the court finally decided to spill the beans. With a dramatic frown that could rival any soap opera star, she declared, "I am Todd's mother." Well, let me tell you, I was fuming. Like a kettle on the verge of boiling over, my anger was bubbling up and ready to spill. Seriously, you could practically see the steam coming out of my ears. Honestly, I was just throwing words around like confetti at a parade. Who cares, right? I told her she was just scraping by in the mom department. I couldn't help but ask if she was too busy getting cozy with Rick to remember to pick up her kid that day. I laid it down like a lawmaker with a gavel. This was it, the end of the line, no turning back. Oh no, not a chance. There was no way I was letting her whisk Todd away to some mysterious place where I had never set foot before. Not on my watch. Can you believe she actually suggested that? I mean, talk about a wild idea. She was already giving him the cold shoulder, and I wasn't about to let her drag him off to some place where things would just go downhill from there. Nope, not on my watch. Christine was all fired up, trying to make her point, but I swooped in and hit the mute button on that debate. Game over, Christine. So, there I was, laying down the law like a seasoned referee, telling her straight up that Todd was not stepping foot outside with her. End of story, folks. If she even thinks about snatching him up, I'd be dialing 911 faster than you can say not on my watch. Oh, you better believe I was as serious as a cat in a room full of rocking chairs, and she totally picked up on it. She kept throwing out her best arguments, but let's be real, her heart had already packed its bags and left the building. So, she casually dropped the bomb that she'd swing by to check on him right after he gets back from school the next day. Classic move, right? So there I was, minding my own business, when, out of nowhere, she rolls in with Rick. I mean, seriously, who saw that coming? The very next afternoon, they rolled up in a rusty old pickup truck that looked like it had seen better days, and maybe a few less than legal adventures too. So there was Rick, just chilling in the car like it was his personal throne, while Christine strutted into the place like she owned the joint. Classic move, right? So, there we were, just chatting away, and guess what? She totally skipped over Rick like he was yesterday's news, and me? I was just too cool to bring him up. Classic, right? So, she had a little chat with Todd and spilled the same beans I did. Classic, right? So, here's the scoop. Mom decided to spread her wings and fly the coop, which means she's not hanging out at home anymore. We're living in our own little worlds now. Sometimes, you know, the big kids have to step up and handle the serious stuff. Oh, we were both still head over heels for him, no doubt about it. Watching him be all confused was like seeing a puppy trying to figure out a mirror, it just tugged at my heartstrings. So there was Christine, blissfully unaware that her buddy had turned into a waterworks factory for a solid 30 minutes before heading off to school. Who knew mornings could be so dramatic? He was scratching his head, wondering where the heck Mom had disappeared to this time. I dangled the shiny promise of an afternoon rendezvous with her like a carrot in front of a frantic rabbit to get him to chill out. So, the moment arrived for Christine to make her grand exit, and guess what? She casually dropped the bombshell that Todd was tagging along for the ride. So there we were, right at the front door, in the middle of a classic showdown. Suddenly, Rick pops out of the car like a superhero, strutting over and asking, "Is there a problem?" Like, buddy, have you not seen the drama unfolding here? So, I made it crystal clear, if they thought they could just waltz in and snatch Todd from his cozy little nest, we were going to have a serious situation on our hands. Not on my watch. So, there I was, finally getting a good look at Rick, and let me tell you, I was left scratching my head. I mean, seriously? Christine thought this guy was an upgrade? Insulted doesn't even begin to cover it. He looked like he'd just rolled out of a dumpster, with clothes that had seen better days and a smile that was a little too quirky for comfort. His beard was like a finely tuned instrument, all neat and tidy, while his hair looked like it had just survived a tornado. Talk about a hair-raising situation. He was like a walking art gallery, tattoos sprawled from his wrist all the way up to his neck, and I could even spot a few peeking out from under his shorts on his leg. Talk about commitment to body art. So, there were a couple of them that featured some very naked ladies. From the get-go, I just had this gut feeling that he was not the right fit for my kiddo. So, Rick casually drops this bombshell that Christine has all these maternal rights, and hey, she could totally swoop in and take him if she felt like it. Like, wow, thanks for the heads up, Rick. I told him, dude, that's just a myth. We were both in the ring, and I was throwing my punches just like anyone else. So there I was, standing my ground, telling Rick in no uncertain terms that this was a family affair. I even threw in a little threat about calling the cops if he dared to take another step closer. Classic standoff, right? He looked like I just stole his last slice of pizza when I challenged him, but hey, he took a step back anyway. Let's be real, this guy was likely hiding something, maybe a criminal record or some other juicy tidbit that made him want to steer clear of the cops. Who knows what kind of shenanigans he was up to. He whispered a little something to Christine, and just like that, they both spun around and made their grand exit. So, she's popped back to see Todd a few times now, and guess what? She usually rolls in solo, leaving Rick behind. Classic move, right? If he's coming with us, he's just going to chill in the car like a loyal pup waiting for his humans to return from their adventure. This dude gives me the heebie-jeebies, and you better believe I'll go to the mat for full custody just to make sure my kid doesn't have to deal with him growing up. Okay, I get it, I'm totally judging a book by its cover here, but honestly? I couldn't care less. Todd's been having a bit of a rough time with all this, let me tell you. Once upon a time, he was the life of the party, a little dynamo bursting with energy. Now? Well, let's just say he's mastered the art of being a wallflower. Who knew silence could be so loud? Oh man, it totally shatters my heart into a million tiny pieces. So, I've been playing the role of the cheerleader, you know? I throw in some jokes, maybe a dance move or two, and for a glorious few hours, he's all smiles and laughter. But then, like a balloon losing air, he deflates back to his quiet self. It's like trying to keep a cat in a bathtub, just when you think you've got it, poof. Back to square one. I'm hanging by a thread here, folks. This is getting ridiculous. Oh boy, Christine really knows how to stir the pot, doesn't she? I mean, I can't even with what she pulled on me, and don't even get me started on poor Todd. It's like she's got a PhD in chaos or something. So, there I was, minding my own business, when she decided that our family was just too boring for her taste. Poof. She broke us apart like a kid with a piñata, and now it's just me and a 5-year-old trying to glue the pieces back together. Talk about a plot twist, right? It's like she thought, hey, I just want to feel like the old me again. And poof, neglecting her kid and ghosting her marriage seemed like a totally reasonable plan. Classic, right? Hey, I totally get it, people evolve, right? But come on, you can't just hit the pause button on parenting because it messes with your groove. Oh, come on. That's not what we call spontaneity, my friend. Oh, come on. That's just a fancy way of saying someone is being selfish while pretending to find themselves. Classic move, right? Time for a little update, folks. Oh boy, did I catch some heat for my hot takes in that first post. Who knew sharing my thoughts could stir the pot so much? Nope, tattoos just aren't my jam. Go ahead, take your best shot. Hey, let's get real for a sec, just because someone's rocking some ink doesn't mean they're on the naughty list or anything. Tattoos are like the cool stickers of life, right? They tell a story, not a crime report. You know, it's wild how much you can learn about someone just by checking out their skin game. I mean, it's like their personal billboard, right? What they choose to slap on there says a whole lot about who they are. It's like a peek into their soul, but, you know, with a little more moisturizer and maybe some glitter. Look, if a guy thinks it's a good idea to tattoo himself with naked ladies, that's a big red flag for me. I mean, do I really want that kind of vibe around my kid? Nope, not in this lifetime. Honestly, I can't believe this is even a thing we need to discuss. It's pretty straightforward, right? Like, come on. Alright, folks, let's dive right into the juicy stuff, divorce time. So there was Christine, waving her hands like a traffic cop, insisting that we steer clear of the courtroom drama. No gavel banging for her, thank you very much. She was convinced we could just sit down, sip some herbal tea, and hash everything out with a little meditation magic. So there she was, all smiles and sunshine, saying she didn't want much from me. Just a little sprinkle of amicability, you know, since we'd be playing the co-parenting game together. How sweet, right? So, I casually dropped the bomb that co-parenting wasn't exactly on my to-do list. Trust? Nah, that was a hard pass for me when it came to her. So, here's the deal, she had this whole track record of ignoring Todd, and I wasn't about to just kick back and let her parade my kid around with a guy like Rick. No way, no how. She was all like, trust me, they'll treat him like royalty. But I was already set in my ways, no convincing was needed. My decision was as solid as a rock, folks. And just like that, she flipped the switch and got all kinds of mad. She threw down the gauntlet, declaring I had no business trying to snag full custody of Todd. He was her little guy as well, and she was ready to throw down to keep him safe. So, I said, go on, give it a shot. And guess what? She totally went for it. She ended up with a lawyer who was about as useful as a chocolate teapot, while I snagged the creme de la creme of legal eagles that my wallet could handle. I strolled in with a mountain of paperwork that I had scrambled together like a last-minute school project. So, picture this, I've got a whole collection of texts documenting every single time I checked in on Todd, only to find out she totally spaced on something. Classic, right? You won't believe this. I managed to snag a signed statement from Todd's teachers, and guess what? They totally backed me up, saying she either waltzed in late or just ghosted when it was her turn to scoop him up. Classic, right? So, I spilled the beans to my lawyer about my gut feeling on Rick, and guess what? He went all Sherlock Holmes on me and did some digging. So, guess what? Turns out Rick's got a bit of a shady past, like, criminal record kind of shady. We're talking about driving under the influence, a little tussle with the law, resisting arrest like a champ, and enough drug possession charges to fill a small library. Who knew he was such a wild card? Honestly, I was shocked he was still roaming the streets like a lost puppy. I mean, how is that even possible? So, there I was, sweating bullets at the idea of Todd shacking up with this dude, but my lawyer, in all their wisdom, was like, hey, this is actually a win for us. I mean, who knew legal advice could come with a side of optimism? The judge would probably raise an eyebrow and say, no way, Jose. If Christine thought living with Rick was a good idea. I mean, come on, who wouldn't see that as a recipe for chaos? Turns out my lawyer actually knew what they were talking about. Who would have thought, right? So, guess what? Rick's record totally flipped the script and made everything work out in my favor. How's that for a plot twist? So, Christine was all like, no, he's totally different now. He's clean. But, plot twist, his latest run-in with the law was just around the corner, like a bad sequel nobody asked for. So, picture this, Rick, the guy who's been the same old Rick forever, suddenly everyone's buzzing about how he's turned over a new leaf. But guess what? There's absolutely zero proof to back that up. It's like saying a cat can bark, just doesn't add up. And then, bam. The last straw hit when a social worker swung by to check out the digs that Christine and Rick were planning to call home sweet home. She took one look at their apartment and declared it a no-go zone for raising a kid, especially when you compared it to the swanky digs he was already calling home. So, picture this, Rick's pad is cozy, like, really cozy. We're talking about a space so snug that Todd's dreams of having his own room are about as likely as finding a unicorn in the backyard. Spoiler alert, it's not happening. So, picture this, the social worker strolls into the apartment and, whoa. It's like a tornado hit a thrift store. And to top it off, the building looks like it's seen better days, like, a century ago. Yikes. The court decided to hand me the golden ticket of full physical custody, declaring that I was clearly the more capable parent, both in the brain department and the wallet department, than she was. Score 1 for me. So, Christine got herself some weekly visiting rights. But hold your horses, folks, those could change faster than a cat on a hot tin roof, all depending on the next review. Stay tuned. So, she claimed she was going to appeal it, but spoiler alert, that plan went absolutely nowhere. So, either she was short on cash for a fancy lawyer to take her case to the next level, or she just decided it wasn't worth her time anymore. Classic move, right? Honestly, I wouldn't bat an eye if that was the case, especially considering how she acted towards Todd once I snagged custody. In the beginning, she was all about those visitation periods, showing up like it was the hottest ticket in town. She never showed up with Rick, and honestly, I wouldn't have put up with that nonsense anyway. So there she was, hanging out with Todd, and let me tell you, it was like magic. Seriously, it looked like her presence was doing wonders for him. He finally started to act like his old self again, and let me tell you, it was a breath of fresh air. Phew. But then, like a magician's disappearing act, the visits started to dwindle. So, one weekend, she casually dropped the bomb that she was feeling under the weather. Classic move, right? So, the following week, worked threw a curveball my way. And just like that, poof. No more excuses and definitely no more show-ups. Out of nowhere, she pulled a disappearing act, and poor Todd was left in shambles. So, there he was, all cozy, with his mom popping in like a surprise party every now and then. But then, poof. She stopped showing up, and just like that, he turned into a hermit. I mean, come on, it was like watching a balloon deflate, and let me tell you, it totally shattered my heart into a million tiny pieces. Ugh, I really didn't want to, but there I was, dialing her number like it was the last thing on earth I wanted to do. So, here's the deal, I wasn't exactly her biggest fan, but she was his mom, and let's be real, he had to see her. Family drama, am I right? So, there I was, dialing her number like a madman, but no answer. I thought, why not take a little field trip? Off I went to her apartment, ready to play detective. So there I was, giving that door a solid 5-minute workout, and guess what? Not a peep. Crickets, folks. Just me and my persistent knocking, hoping for a miracle. So, there I was, all set to pitch my little tent right in front of their place, ready to wait like a loyal puppy until they finally returned. Who needs a welcome mat when you can have a full-on camping experience, right? I was on a quest for answers, like a detective in a mystery novel, but with less trench coat and more coffee stains. Before I could even finish my coffee, an elderly lady popped her head out from the neighboring apartment like a curious turtle, asking if I was on the hunt for Christine and Rick. Classic. So, I said I was around, and she hit me with the news that they had packed their bags and vanished from town. So, there they were, off on a wild adventure to Miami with their pals, ready to soak up the sun and maybe a little too much fun. You won't believe what just happened. Wait, she just up and left without giving me a heads up? Seriously? You'd think the least she could do is give us a heads up that she was ghosting us for visitation, right? I mean, come on. So there was Todd, scratching his head and pondering the great mystery of why his mom seemed to be pulling a disappearing act on him. What gives, right? That was the last straw, my friend. I went ahead and reported those missed visits, turning them into my secret weapon of proof for all that neglect. Boom. So, there we were, having a good old-fashioned debate about how she was about as emotionally available as a brick wall and definitely not the best choice for babysitting Todd. I mean, come on, who thought that was a good idea? So, there she was, living the dream of a once-a-week, highly supervised rendezvous. Talk about a major downgrade in the social calendar. When she returned, she made it crystal clear just how ticked off she was about that little situation. So there I was, minding my own business, when suddenly, bam bam bam. It was like a scene straight out of a horror movie. She and Rick were at my door, practically demanding I make a grand entrance. Talk about an unexpected visit. I snuck a glance out from the upstairs window, like a curious cat on the prowl. Those two looked like they'd just stumbled out of a wild party, all wobbly and giggly, like they were auditioning for a role in a comedy about drunken shenanigans. Was that really the kind of life she thought she was missing out on so much that she had to bail on me and our kid? Thank goodness Todd was out and about when all the chaos went down. So, there he was, kicking back and enjoying the weekend with my folks. What could possibly go wrong, right? So there I was, minding my own business, when the doorbell rang. But let's be real, I wasn't about to answer it, especially with Rick on the other side, throwing around threats like confetti at a parade. Nope, not today. You won't believe what I just did. I called the cops and decided to play the role of a secret agent from my upstairs window. Yep, I was filming the whole thing like I was in some sort of action movie. Who needs popcorn when you have a front row seat to the drama, right? So, picture this, the cops roll up, lights flashing, and what do they find? Our buddy Rick, just hanging out with a little surprise tucked away, a weapon. Classic Rick, right? He promised he always had it tucked away, and trust me, he had no plans to whip it out on me. But honestly, who would buy that story? Even if it were true, it felt like a tall tale spun by a cat with a penchant for drama. So, picture this, there's a guy with a motive to do me harm, and to top it off, he's 3 sheets to the wind. Talk about a recipe for disaster. So, there I was, just minding my own business when suddenly, he and Christine got scooped up by the cops. Next thing I know, I'm in the hot seat, getting grilled for a bit. Talk about a plot twist, right? So, I went ahead and made sure the cops got a good look at the video I captured. You know, just in case they needed a little entertainment on their shift. Oh boy, let me tell you, the property took quite a hit. It was like a scene out of a disaster movie, but without the popcorn. Damage everywhere, and not the kind you can just sweep under the rug. Yikes. So, picture this, they waltzed right up to the front door, gave it a good old kick, and boom. Down it went. And just for good measure, they decided to play window smash-up, taking out one of the panes like it was a piñata. What a party, right? The cops were like, so, do you want to press charges or what? Oh, absolutely. You betcha. So there I was, just minding my own business, and suddenly I found myself pondering the great mystery of the universe. What on earth would have gone down if Todd had been home? I mean, the possibilities are endless. Would he have been glued to the couch, munching on snacks like a champion? Or maybe he would have turned the living room into a chaotic circus? The suspense is killing me. So, here we are, 2 folks in a bit of a pickle, staring down some hefty charges for wrecking stuff and throwing around threats like confetti at a party. Yikes. Oh boy, let me tell you, Rick was the cherry on top of this disaster sundae. So there he was, strutting around with a weapon like he was in some action movie, And let's not forget, he had definitely taken a joyride to the house after a few too many drinks. Classic, right? So, my lawyer just dropped the bomb that this could be his third strike. Yep, he might be packing his bags for a long vacation behind bars. Yikes. It looks like Christine is about to take the express lane to the Oops, I Did It Again club, but hey, at least her ride won't be as bumpy as his. Just a little souvenir in the form of a criminal record to remember the trip by. Fun times, right? Whoa, hold the phone. Is this really the same woman I said I do to? Mind blown. She had taken a nosedive, but hey, this was exactly what she was after. She picked it out all by herself, like a kid in a candy store, but way cooler. So, there I was, standing in the middle of a conversation with Todd, and guess what? I totally forgot to mention that his mom had a little run-in with the law. Oops. Talk about an awkward family update, right? I just casually dropped it on him that she was feeling a bit under the weather and needed to escape to a place where she could bounce back. You know, like a vacation for her health or something. Oh, she'd be just dandy, and one day, he'd bump into her again like a plot twist in a rom-com. So, here I am, caught in a bit of a pickle. I really don't want to pull a fast one on him, but let's be real, he's not exactly ready for the whole truth bomb just yet. It's like trying to explain quantum physics to a toddler, right? Just not the right time. Honestly, the most shocking thing? The dude didn't shed a single tear. He just gave a nod, like he'd been through this rodeo with her a million times before. Oh man, it was a total gut-wrencher. I'm pulling out all the stops to help Todd navigate this wild ride. I try to hang out with him as much as possible, but when life gets crazy, he's off having a grand old time with my parents. I just want to make sure he's got a squad of folks around him who genuinely care about him, you know? Like, a fan club but with less cheering and more hugs. Every Friday, it's game night at our place. We chow down on pizza and dive into whatever video game he's itching to play. It's like a mini party, just with more cheese and pixelated adventures. Oh, you know it's usually Fortnite. That game is like the ultimate hangout spot for gamers, right? Just building, battling, and trying not to get sniped while you're busy doing your best dance moves. Classic. He's gradually morphing back into that cheerful little dude he once was, and I am totally here for it. He's not quite back to his superhero self yet, but hey, I know better than to push him. Patience is key, right? Well, here we are, folks. Not exactly the fairy tale ending I had in mind, but life has a funny way of throwing curveballs, doesn't it? I never signed up for a family breakup. It's like getting a surprise party you didn't want. Who knew adulting would come with such plot twists? Well, let me tell you, I never signed up for this roller coaster ride of parenting. I mean, who knew life had a plot twist waiting around the corner? My poor son is just along for the ride, and trust me, I didn't exactly choose this adventure. But here we are, navigating the chaos like pros. So there I was, just a regular parent, feeling like a superhero on a mission. My sole goal? To keep my son safe from the wild world out there. I did everything I could, cape and all. Well, maybe no cape, but you get the idea. Well, that tickled my fancy just fine. Oh, Christine. I really hope she's having a light bulb moment about what she tossed aside just to chase that wild dream of reliving her glorious 21-year-old days. Talk about a trade-off, right? Honestly, it's just not worth the hassle, my friend. No need to say sorry for having your kids back. You're just being a superhero parent, and that's what counts. You really rolled out the red carpet for her, didn't you? Every opportunity was like a VIP pass, and she just kept missing the show. So, you decided to roll out the welcome mat for her, huh? Bold move, my friend. So, you didn't spill the tea about her to Todd, huh? You even made a move when she started to ghost you, huh? Ah, the legendary Friday game night. You know, the one where snacks are devoured, rivalries are born, and laughter echoes through the room like a catchy jingle you can't shake off. It's the perfect excuse to gather your crew, unleash your competitive spirit, and maybe even throw a few playful jabs at each other. Who knew rolling dice could lead to such epic tales? Cheers to the Friday fun. Hey, just a quick reminder, you're not the one to blame for this mess. Seriously, it's not on you. You totally hit back at it. You nailed it, up. Seriously, you did everything just right. Ever witnessed a chill divorce turn into an all-out war over who gets the kids and the cash? It's like watching a rom-com morph into an action flick, and trust me, the popcorn is definitely needed. We want to hear all about your wild adventures, so spill the beans in the comments below. Hey there! Thanks a bunch for hanging out with us today on our space. Hey there! Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. You definitely don't want to miss our next epic video adventure. Catch you later, alligator.